Okay, this is part 2 of my block plane collection. I've got a few Sargent block planes here. Now, Sargent went out of business in 1964, and their block planes are getting really hard to get a hold of. And what I'm going to show you first is this one. They actually made this for Sears. It's marked Sears. That was a secondary line of planes that Sears and tools. They made all sorts of things under the Dunlap name. And they eventually stopped using it, I think, in the 1950s and just went with the Craftsman brand. But I don't have a Sargent branded plane like this. I'm sure they made a version for their own customers, but I don't happen to have one. But it's interesting. It has a screw adjustment here on the back to adjust the blade in and out. And then I have this one. This one's marked Craftsman, but it's definitely a Sargent plane. Now this one, it has the lever under here, the little disc to adjust the blade in and out. It also has a lateral adjustment here. Different from the Stanleys, it's actually hooked onto the blade. And it also has the adjustment up here. You know, loosen this knob and you can turn this little piece here. You can open and close the mouth. If you want to try to get a real fine cut, you close it up. But a nice little plane. This one's in pretty good shape. I've never really used it, but it's kind of neat. And it was cheap when I bought it, so you know, you can still pick these things up pretty cheap when you can find them, but the Sargents are getting tough to find. Now, this one here, it's a Sargent for sure. I don't know what number it is, and it needs to be restored, and I just haven't got around to doing it yet. It has the wrong blade in it. This blade's actually a Stanley blade, which the cap iron's not sitting on there properly. Now, this was kind of the same sort of thing that Stanley did with some of their planes, like the 120. They put this lever in here to adjust the blade in and out. And, you know, it really could use a restoration job. It's a little rough, and maybe one day I'll get around to fixing it up. And finding the proper blade for it would be nice also. Now, got another one that looks kind of like that last one. Now, this is a Sargent 208. Now, it's a nice long plane. It's heavy. Now, it's got the wheel under here to tighten up the cap iron. Now, one thing they did, they got that little lever and nut and screw to adjust the blade in and out. And if you wanted to move it laterally, you just had to, you know, tap on the side or loosen the cap iron up so you could move it around. But a neat plane. I mean, you can kind of see that Stanley and Sargent were really building pretty much the same sort of planes at the time. Now, this is a 217. Now, it has a screw adjustment under here to adjust the blade in and out. And again, if you needed to move it laterally, you just had to loosen up the cap iron and just move it over with your fingers or tap on it with a small hammer. Now, this one's seen a lot of use. The blade should be sticking out a good bit farther than that, but it's kind of interesting. Now, this is another number 217, but Sargent was doing some kind of I guess a promotional thing. This was actually a number VBM 217, which the VBM was very best made. It was kind of a marketing thing that they were doing. It's the same plane basically. This one has a nickel plated cap iron. Same type of adjustment. And you'll see that on a lot of Sargent planes. You'll see some that just have a number, and then you'll see some that it has the VBM on there. But same plane, 217. Now I'm going to show you this next one. And this is actually Sargent's knucklehead plane. I'm actually missing a couple pieces. This piece here, the little knob, is missing, so I can't adjust the blade back and forth, but it works just like the Stanley knucklehead. You just take this off, and I don't know the number of this one. It's on the blade right here. It's a little cruddy. I cannot make out the number, so I'm not even going to try to tell you exactly what the number was on it. But that's their version of the knucklehead type plane. It had the same sort of adjustment wheel back here, lateral adjustment right here. Yeah, and hopefully I'll find the pieces to make that one whole again. It's kind of a neat plane. Now,